welcome to Parasailing Geek. This is part 3 of our inking series.
Extravaganza.
Extravaganza,
It's a
yes.
4-part series. This is part 3.
Yes, part 3.
Where Miguel inks a page from start to finish from our short story, Nostradamus, A Prophet's Curse.
Mm-hmm.
There's links to everything in the description box below, as well as throughout this video. So we hope you enjoy part 3.
And it's time to get your geek on. Hello and welcome to part 3 of our inking with Miguel and Suzy. Right now, I'm showing you how to use the line tool. Actually, I'm using the line tool, which is one of my favorite tools in this program.
Yeah, I noticed you use it a lot.
Yes, I do.
Comes in handy?
Comes in very handy, especially the curve line tool. Because, I mean, you could do it freehand, but it just doesn't, sometimes it just doesn't look that great. And right now I'm inking. I'm using the inking tool.
No, you're using the mapping pen?
Yes, the mapping pen. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
No problem.
And, wow, I move really fast. Actually sped it up, so.
I sped it up. I love that you were surprised at how efficient you were.
I was like, what?
It sped up.
Yeah, so here you are, seeing me. Yeah, I don't normally ink this fast. This is sped up. Threw me off.
The magic of fast forward.
Like, wow. So, yes, I love the mapping tool because it gets a nice thick to thin sort of effect to it.
Is there a particular setting that you like? I noticed you have mapping pen and then...
Yeah, there are some settings where you can set the line from thick to thin. Mm-hmm. So the line going in at 1 or going out at 1, and you can play with it.
So you can play with the inline and the outline? How thick they are?
Yeah, you can. Cool. You can. Or you can just not have an outline, so it doesn't taper out. But I like that it tapers out because it kind of gives you this feeling like it's almost like a brush.
Very nice. And here you're not using a line tool, you're using the mapping pen to freestyle it?
Yep. I'm freestyling it. Like I said before, if I haven't said it, I like to use my inks as a way of correcting my pencils. That's what inking is to me. Mm-hmm. It's refining it further. It's kind of like, for those of you who are accustomed to writing, it's like rough draft versus first draft and third draft and so on. That's how I view my inking. I
heard that's what they do even at Marvel and DC is the inker usually cleans it up.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes makes decisions the penciler may or may not have, but anyways, it is a way to clean up the pencil.
That's right. Actually,
a little paint bucket there.
A good inker and a good penciler.
Little paint bucket there.
Little paint bucket action. Yeah, a little paint bucket.
And an undo.
Yes, undo. Oh my God, thank goodness for undos.
Oh, look at all those paint buckets. That's great. Yeah. Some erasing, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And fixing up some of the lines a bit.
Mm-hmm. You can see, love that paint bucket tool.
And of course, zoom in and out, very helpful.
Yes, important to zoom in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things, I think the most dangerous thing about digital is the capability of being able to zoom in and staying zoomed in the whole time, because you can just get too lost in the details. So you have to zoom out every once in a while in order to get a feel for the actual piece from far away, because when someone reads it, even if it is on a tablet, I mean, you can zoom in on a tablet, but they're going to look at it from a certain distance.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
important.
important.
They'll need to read if it's a comic book and there's
Yeah.
text.
Yeah.
And so just remember to go in and out to make sure you're not losing the forest for the trees.
Mm-hmm. That's something I think is a danger of digital, is that you could get lost in just endless detail and endless rendering. And it's very easy to do it, so you have to know when to pull back.
So what do you think of digital versus real inking, if you will? I don't know what else to call it, traditional inking.
I like real inking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's great, but I still have to bring it into the computer and darken it. So in terms of my flow, digital works just fine. It has its thing, and that's for more of the workflow, particularly with comics, which is, it's a lot of work. You're talking like a marathon. But if I'm, doesn't keep me from wanting to do some stuff inked, hand drawn. Actually, if you followed my Instagram, Miguel Guerra 1532, you would see all the things I did in October, and it was all 100% real ink.
Actually, I put them all in a horror section on our website because most of them were horror illustrations and inks, which were very cool. And I still have more to post.
Yeah.
So I'll put a link there in the notes.
the digital helps you with your traditional, and the traditional helps you with your digital. I really don't think that there should be such a thing as viewing it separately all that much.
Yeah, I don't understand when people are... I guess I don't understand the argument, because use whatever you like and use both if you want, and depends on the job, depends on what you're doing, and I don't understand the either or point of view. But
that point of view always kind of came. I remember when airbrushing came in. I was very young, and everybody was trying to argue whether or not it was art. If we're going to go down the road where everything that's traditional is or isn't art because of some new tool, I'm sure cave people would have us beat.
That's good, because I just airbrushed. I bought a van and I airbrushed it all with like a galaxy theme on the outside. I hope you like it.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Awesome.
I'm a traditionalist. I like... See, it's been so long. I like airbrushing now.
That sounds hilarious.
You can see it after the show.
I'd love to see it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Is it kind of like a Scooby-Doo type van, though?
No, it's not at all.
Oh, that's awesome. So, yeah, that's the thing. For me, it's neither here nor there. It's the effect you want to get.
Ooh. So you can't do that. If that was real, that would have been ink spilt all over the page. Okay, very nice.
No.
So we're just going through these, and you're switching, see, eraser, mapping.
I also like, too, as well, that the mapping pen gives... It's a bit chunky. In some ways. It's a little chunky, you know.
It's chunky.
Yeah, it doesn't have that repeater sort of like...
I mean, it's like a crow quill?
Yeah, it's like a crow quill. I mean, the other ones, the repeater pens, which were like those, for those of you who may not remember the repeater pens, but they usually come like 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. The line's consistent.
Okay.
But I like that this one
it varies up the line.
Yeah, it varies up the line.
Okay.
I think that...
You're a fan of thicker and thinner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I mean, you're going to emulate that anyway in comic books, because you're supposed to make the thicker lines coming closer to you.
Yeah, for perspective reasons. Not just aesthetic
reasons, right.
Thinner lines further away, thicker lines closer.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, there's another tool.
Yes, that's the circle tool.
Yeah, or the ellipse, which could be a circle.
Yes.
Very nice.
I could spend a lot of time trying to draw actually a perfect circle. And I'm not really all that great at it, because I really don't care about drawing a perfect circle by hand. Mm-hmm.
So I like that you used blue to draw it to the edge of the page. Mm-hmm. And now you're just inking over it.
Yes, and I rotated it. One of the good things about this program is you're able to rotate, because there's just some...
Like paper.
Like paper, exactly.
It really does a good job of trying to mimic what it can in real life in a digital way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's good examples of the thick to thin approach to the line. Very nice. I like it. It makes it look kind of organic. Mm-hmm. And has a neat look to it. Your funky skull.
Funky skull. Sounds like a good t-shirt. Buy it at 7robots.com.
No, we don't have a funky skull shirt. Okay, now we might have to make it.
No, we have to make it.
All right.
Actually, yes.
Okay, see about all your little details going on there. Okay, so right there is where you didn't draw all the way through the page, but you're inking it through the page.
Yes.
And that's for, we're not sure exactly what the final print size will be. So I mentioned to Miguel he might want to draw as wide as he can on the page, just in case we have a different format.
That's right.
And he obliged. Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome.
and it's a lot easier. Let's just put it that way.
Dental work.
Yeah, you're like a dentist right
Like
there.
a dentist. Oh, you'll also notice too, sometimes I turn off the actual pencils and the blue. And that's just so I can just see if it's looking okay. You're actually paying attention to the pencils, and you're looking at the inks on top of the pencils. Sometimes it's, actually a lot of times, it's good to just turn off the pencil layer so you can just see the inks on their own, how they stand on their own. And I'm adding more texture, things that I tend to do when I ink, where I don't really waste too much time when I pencil. Gonna try it again. See if I get
Will
it
it
right.
happen?
No.
Not yet.
Nope.
Might as well do some dental work while we're here.
Doing dental work. Getting ready. Gonna make the big move. See where I can find it. So the connection's missing. Okay, and I'm probably gonna flub it again. yeah. Oh, found it.
Was that it?
Side, yes.
Oh, you wanted to hold. I wasn't sure we were trying to think about it.
Yeah. Also, too, the good thing is not to draw perfect outlines of things. In other words, don't connect everything perfectly. I know that's a pain for people who do the coloring, but for us
He looks at
inkers,
me.
for us,
He says to the flat colorist.
because it kind of gives you more of an illusion that things are also have depth to it.
Well, I've gotten used to it. So usually in our workflow, Miguel, of course, does all the art. I'll do, depending on what the style is, I'll add the flat colors, and then he'll go in and jazz it all up with shadows and highlights
Yep, that's
and all
that's the
that
flow.
funky stuff that makes it look awesome.
So Suzy gets all the boring stuff.
Yeah,
The flats, I'm sorry.
it's okay.
And you do the lettering, you do a wonderful job.
Do the lettering, I usually figure out the palettes.
So what am I doing here? I think it was
Because this is an inking tutorial, and you're the
Ah.
artist in the inker.